We're ready. Morning, everyone. Welcome to the workshop for the Village of Ruidoso. Today is August the 1st. And could I have, if you'll join with me for a moment of silence, and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, God, for sending the rain and keep it coming.
Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
All right, thank you, everybody. And we're missing Councilor Letterman. She is jury duty in it today.
All right.
Yeah, along with Nicole, so we'll see how I couldn't get out of it, so I don't know how they're going to. Roll call, please, ma'am.
Mayor Crawford,
Here.
Councilor Eby,
Here.
Councilor Salas,
Here.
Councilor Hooker,
Here.
Councilor Coughlin,
Here.
and Councilor Jackson.
Here.
There you have a quorum.
All right, thank you, everyone. Item number 1, discussion of resolution 2023-27, a resolution approving an agreement setting forth the terms and conditions of active membership in the Southeastern New Mexico Economic Development District Council of Governments in the amount of $2,450. And I was remiss, Manager Santa's in Albuquerque. Does anybody have any questions on this one?
No.
Okay. Just consent?
Consent. Yes.
Consent. Item number 2, discussion on joint powers agreement between the Village of Ruidoso and the Board of Education for the Ruidoso Middle School District regarding placement of school resource officer at the Ruidoso Municipal Schools. And I don't see any of the officers in here, but this is everything the same on this one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Consent?
Is it just one officer?
Yep.
At one time they were talking about
just
getting a
one.
second.
We still only have one right now. They had a meeting there last week, all the officers on procedures, working on traffic control and all that. So,
Okay.
but as far as I know, it's just Sal.
Okay. Oh, Sal.
Yep. Item number 3, discussion on state special grants in a junior bill for public libraries. Agreement with the New Mexico State Library fiscal year 2024 in the amount of $25,000. Now, this is, you received one earlier that was junior bill money?
No, this is actually the junior bill money.
This is the junior bill money.
It is.
Okay, it does say junior bill right there in the title. Not that sharp
all right.
for this morning.
And it's the, divvied up the same as the state grants and aid. There was $100,000 for the 4 libraries in Lincoln County. And each one of us got $25,000, and it has the same restrictions on it as the state grants and aid.
Okay. And 4 libraries are Carrizozo, Capitan, us, and
Corona.
Corona. Has anybody heard the latest on the fire chief? Nope. Still over 200 acres, 10% contained.
Yeah, the fire inside the perimeter, all the fires well inside, so it's not going anywhere.
Okay.
But they're just calling it 10% contained at this time.
Okay. You want this on consent?
Consent.
Item number 4.
Thank you, Denise.
Discussion on contract for goods and services with J3 Systems LLC through Cooperative Educational Services, CES price agreement for re-roofing project at the Ruidoso Convention Center in the amount of $658,393.42, including New Mexico GRT. Morning, Bernadine.
Good morning.
Thanks for sending that in. She
Oh, you are.
had sent me some details on it. Go ahead.
Okay, this is to replace the roof. Of course, the roof at the convention center is the original roof from 1992. We did do some patching in 2017, but we continue to have more and more leaks, including during Art Festival. right in the middle of someone's booth. So this is definitely something that we definitely need to get done. And I did talk to Michael and Ron last week about the time frame. They had initially mentioned September through November, but because we have so many events booked, we talked and we're gonna move it to the middle of February through probably the beginning of April. And I think that'll be a lot better, because then in that time frame we only have about 3 or 4 events booked. And then we can give people the opportunity to decide whether they want to go ahead and book their
Okay, or
events.
not.
And we'll just let him know, the noise and things like that, because I have talked to him and he did mention that there definitely will be a noise factor, especially when you get to that lower roof above meeting rooms 1, 2, and 3. It would be just literally right above them. It might be a little easier if you're in the exhibit hall or rooms 4, 5, and 6 where the ceilings are a lot higher, so.
I'm glad they're flexible.
They were definitely flexible. I talked to them about a couple different dates and they were good with either one, so.
Okay.
So by pushing it off that long, will that create any issues during the winter when you have snow melt?
We don't usually have as many issues in the wintertime as we do during the monsoons.
Okay.
So, sometimes it will, because it sits, it's a flat roof,
Right.
so it does sit, and then as it starts to slowly drain, sometimes we do have some issues, but not near as many as we do in the summertime.
Anyone else?
I just had one question.
sir.
If I understood it, this was, when I can't remember the mill rating, but the vinyl roofing that is going down, they're putting, underneath that, they're putting a subroofing in. And my question was, do we have adequate runoff now, or is that going to be banked so we will, or?
I don't think that we have adequate runoff now, just because it tends to just sit in a pool. But I don't know if they're going to, I don't think that that's in the scope of work, but I can talk to Earl about it and see what his thought is on that as
To
well.
me, it seems important since we're going to go through
Sure.
that.
Okay, yes, I will definitely talk to him about that as well.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Anyone else? Okay, your pleasure.
Consent?
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Bernadine.
Thank you.
Item number 5, Resolution 2023-26, a resolution adopting infrastructure capital improvement plan, ICIP, fiscal year 2025-2029, and it's due next week?
August 18th.
August 18th, middle of the month. I knew it's coming up. Okay, and as in,
Moving that date up, don't they?
Yes, and yes, even more this year.
That's what I thought. I didn't
They
think it
said the
was due
governor
till the
gave them
end
an
of
earlier
September.
deadline. Yep. So we've held 2 public meetings. Several of us at Village Hall went to the community center for their Friday breakfast to just sit and talk with people, and got some project ideas there. Carrie helped us put out a flash vote, and those results were in your packet as well. And the project list that's included is in no particular order. It's very similar to what we presented last year. One of the challenges that I have is, since it's a 4-year planning document, I have to prioritize by the year, so I just break out like so many chunks for 25 and 26, 27, 28, 29. So however you all would like to rank and prioritize the projects, I can still move those around. One thing they recommended is that we up the cost of the project from the previous year by 20 to 30%. So we increased those, and I also met with all of the directors for their project input, so.
were you surprised at the flash vote? Who got the flash vote? Anybody that's?
I did.
We got the email,
I received it.
but I mean, do we send it out to just anybody that we had their email?
I'm not sure where Carrie gets her listserv, but,
Because it was all like trails, outdoor activities was the high percentages. And housing was small. I was surprised, but we still have on our ICIP, workforce housing is number 1. And broadband fiber, we had a meeting, update last meeting or whatever, so hopefully we're moving forward with that.
And that might tie in with, Mr. Mayor, that might tie in with the downtown area, because that received 59%. One of the top 3.
But I was just wondering if it was more non-residents that were getting the,
Oh,
I don't know.
I'll clarify with Carrie where her listserv comes from.
and it was a small sampling. It was 157 participants.
Well, it was open for a very short period of time.
Yeah.
It
They get a
was.
quick response. But I love some of the comments on these. They're just so, the small project, maybe up to $25,000, and somebody wants to do a street skywalk. It's like 25 million maybe, but
Maybe with Legos, but
I don't even know if you can get enough Legos for 25 grand. But yeah, no, it's interesting reading all the comments.
Well, what do y'all think about the top 5 that we have now?
I'm good. I'm comfortable with it.
I mean, it's, we've done quite a bit on the sidewalk lighting improvements, and we have a plan. Sam's got we don't know what's going to happen. The EDA grant that looks like it's being pushed through for Upper Suttereth. We've done most of the sidewalks, lighting.
Oh, so that would include Upper Suttereth?
Well, it says of Sutter Drive, so.
So,
I think it encompassed everything from the Y circle.
Now, the Y could, if you go all the way to Y, there's other things that we
Right.
could do.
So, Mayor and Council, just a reminder, most of these items, obviously your priorities matter, but most of them, the reason for having them in ICIP is so that we qualify for any other type of funding that's out there. So while the order is important, I think it's maintaining and making sure the items that you want are actually on the ICIP, so.
And, we always try to we've been somewhat successful. You can see the amounts that we're looking for. We received $1 million from federally. What was it that we got notice?
Congressional direct.
Congressional
spend.
district, we got notice last week
Wow.
to go towards housing. And so 600,000 is nominal, but you remember last year, we put in some smaller ones, 150, 250, whatever, try to pick up any money that hadn't been allocated or dedicated. So anyway, well, you have the list, so y'all peruse them and review them all real well, and if there's any changes, we can make them next week. Next week. Okay?
So regular then?
Yeah, we'll put this one on regular.
Sam, out of your public meetings, was there any new projects that came up?
No, potholes, streets, that was the main
Yeah.
topic at the community center.
Well, they ought to be happy about Suttereth then. That'll be the one, y'all heard about that, right?
no.
That Suttereth, the DOT has money, has the contractor, and has the time, and the time is August through Labor Day.
It won't be the mill and inlay like Cutler.
No, it's not gonna be Cutler, it's the old style,
Subgrade prep and
like we did about 8 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So he's supposed to be here next Tuesday to discuss it. So, and that's what we've talked about, Sam and I and Ron and whatever, if maybe they could lay off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like what with Cutler or whatever. But if y'all remember, I was open downtown then and on the council, and the fever was that the black was going to be tracked into all the businesses, and I've got new carpet, and it's going to impact my business. So the contractor actually put down a real thick paper material in doorways and into the businesses, and none of the problems materialized. The black didn't come off, and it was really, the idea of it was more constipating than the actual job. And so, but I can tell you, we've talked about it on the radio. I already got a dozen calls yesterday. The same folks, Eddie and all them down there, that it'll ruin business. And business is the best it's been in 35 years, is the comments we're getting. So
Yep.
he'll be here next week. We'll discuss it
It'll
then.
ruin business, but we got to fix the roads because people don't come to Midtown if we don't fix the roads.
Yeah, it's the chicken and the egg thing. So, we'll have that one on,
Regular.
regular.
Yeah.
Okay. Item number 7, thank you. Discussion on task order RFP 2022.
6.
I'm sorry, did I already go past that one?
We're on 6.
Okay. Discussion on contract with Sites Southwest to enter into an agreement to create a metropolitan redevelopment plan to cover the Meacham Drive corridor in the amount of $50,000.
This is a grant that we received through the New Mexico Finance Authority in the amount of $50,000. We have spoke to Site Southwest because they already have a lot of the background information on the community that we would just need to do the required public meetings by the state statute, as well as identify project areas. What we're looking for is vacant land, blighted properties, revitalization, and housing. It's important that we include properties that are potentially developable for affordable housing and workforce housing. Because of our 9% tax credit application that's going back in January, we'll gain 5 additional points on that if housing is identified in our MRA. So with that, we received $50,000. Her quote to us was $50,000 plus GRT, so the village is on the hook for the gross receipts tax.
Will this potential MRA connect to the existing one, or will there be a gap in the middle?
It'll intersect, so we'll go for the intersection of Sudworth and Meacham to the intersection of Alpine Village Road and Meacham.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Regular.
Regular? Okay,
Thank you all.
thank you. Item number 7, discussion on task order RFP number 2022-006P-MCA-01, Amendment 1, Eagle Creek Wellfield Phase 3 with Mosen and Corbin and Associates for an extension of time from December 2022 to December 2023 and to update the village contract. What's this one about?
Good morning, Mayor and Council. So this one is just we had a task order that expired last year. This is an ongoing construction project. It just came to our attention, so we wanted to just increase the time of the task order. It's not going to be an increase in cost. And then we're also updating the village contact from Eric to reflect myself and Christella.
So there's several of these on the agenda where we missed the end of the
Correct.
previous. Is that just an oversight, or?
Yeah, it was just an oversight. The contracts are ongoing, and the construction's ongoing. We just happened to,
So do we have a process in place to catch it next time so we
Yes.
don't do this?
yes.
Because
We thought we already did.
remember, Cornelius was the one that was always catching that kind of stuff and getting frustrated with
There's a
it.
difference between the contract expiring and the task order. So I do oversee the expiration of contracts, and this is an ongoing project, but I don't know if you ladies want to explain the task order part of it.
So the contract, so we went out for an RFP. So for this one in particular, this was a whole bunch of water resource projects. This happened to be grouped into this RFP. And so whenever these projects came about, we were issuing task orders for a particular project within the RFP itself. And so the RFP has not expired. It's just the task order for the construction. So we do have a plan in place now. We're going to start implementing smart sheets that will actually send us a notification when these timelines are getting ready to expire, so that way we can bring it to you in a timely manner.
Okay.
And Counselor, I think in the past, when they issued these task orders, they were just doing a year at a time without really taking into consideration the actual time for the project. Instead of just doing a year, we're going to actually look at how long we think the project's going to take and make sure that task orders reflects that timeline instead of just doing a year at a time. So we don't have to keep bothering you for.
Great idea.
What is the exact task order? What was it about? I don't remember.
So for number 7, the task order is just for the construction of the Eagle Creek Wellfield Phase 3, so the oversight, helping us go out for bid, helping us make sure the project goes through to completion, and that it follows the design specs.
And phase 3's including the work they're doing below the dam at Alto. They cleaned out the wells, now they're gonna, all the pipes still there, they gotta, that's where I was harping about the trail being closed on weekends and stuff, but they still gotta do all that, and
Yeah, there's confusion on the name. This is like what we call Alto's Well 3 and 4, so.
right.
There's that confusion.
So when does the actual contract with Mosen run out?
So the RFP,
'Cause we're trying to get away from them.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
should be the last of it. I mean, this and the I&I study are the last things that we're gonna be working on with them.
yeah, so once, those projects wrap up, even if they have the extra time on their contract, we're not going to be issuing any more task orders under that
Okay.
contract.
I just didn't want us to have to extend the contract if they have a task order open.
No, and this
No.
project should, be done by December at the latest. I really foresee it being done a lot sooner, but, if we run into any issues, we wanted to make sure we gave them some extra time.
Okay,
So then December, January, we'll probably get an amendment because they want to charge us extra for something they screwed up on.
They've tried a few times and we've just absolutely said no.
No.
They know better than ask.
They should know better.
They know not to even ask anymore.
okay. Does anybody have any questions? Where do you want it?
Consent.
Is that good with everybody?
Sure.
Yep.
Okay. Number 8 is discussion on task order RFP 2021-007P-11, Amendment 1, River Well H 1979-S3, Rehabilitation H 1979-S13, Clean Out and Pumping Test with John Shoemaker and Associates, Inc., for an extension of time from April 2023 to June 24, and changing the village contract.
This is similar to the one above. We just wanted to make sure we gave them ample amount of time, just in case they ran into any problems. We don't foresee that happening, but it could happen, so we didn't want to have to keep coming to you guys for, increase in times for this task order.
So just the same thing with 7, 8, and 9 then?
Yes.
That's what you're doing?
Has this started?
This project, we did issue the notice to proceed. Huey does plan on starting the project mid-August.
Of this year?
Yeah, but I did talk to Tommy Dorgan about moving this is the well that we're gonna have to move the, storage facility for his, snowmaking equipment. So we need to button all that up. 'Cause I did mention with him, he was out of town and said when he got back, he'd contact us so we can get all that squared.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mayor.
But it's supposed to be done by end of August, 1st of
I could probably see it ending by mid-September. And we'll reach out to Huey today and just make sure their timeline is adding up, but he needs to be out of there. I did stress to him by.
They gotta get that
season.
truck back there and they have to move that pit that he holds. And Tom said they would move it, and what we figured since it was our deal, we would pay to move it. We weren't sure who to get, so I asked Tom and he said, well, we have enough time we can move it. And so we'll work out some of the details, but he's aware. But it's supposed to be done in plenty of time so he can be ready to make snow.
Well, what I don't get is we issued the task order a year ago, and now we're just giving them a notice to proceed?
Correct. So, Huey was also working, he was doing the well work on Eagle Creek Wellfield Phase 3 or 3 and 4. And so we wanted to wait until he finished up doing the well work at 3 and 4 before we issued this notice to proceed. This particular project did jump around a little bit. It went from Eric to Leonard and then ended up on my desk. And so we were just trying to coordinate everything and make sure everybody was on the same page. This project was also one that had to be rebid. And I can't remember why was it they didn't receive bids the first time around.
Yeah, so we had to rebid it. That, and I think Eric kind of, when he found something a project that he wanted to work on, he would get a task order issued. Sometimes a little bit, he'd jump the gun a little bit sometimes and he'd get the task order issued before we got to the point where we were ready to go. There's a couple of them like that. And I don't think it was anything that he was trying to do wrong. I think he just wanted to make sure the task order was in place when we were ready to get moving on the project. So that's why we're gonna try and be a little bit more realistic about timelines when we move forward.
So task orders moving forward would be closer to the time
Yes.
that you're ready for
Correct.
something to
Yes.
start? Yeah, because I don't think there's anything wrong with what he did. It's just screw you to issue a task order if it's not even going to start for a year.
Yeah.
Because it, you know, and because looking at this, it's like 2 years for a $75,000 project. Come on, you know, so, okay, thank you.
Where do y'all want it?
Consent.
So,
Item number 9, is that right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Item number 9, discussion on task order RFP 2023-001P-01, Amendment 1, preliminary design for Gavilan Canyon Bridge and culverts with Dubois and King, Inc., for an extension of time from July 2023 to September 2023, and to update the village's contract.
This is the design, the 60% design for Gavilan Canyon Bridge and the culverts that were affected by the McBride fire. They were going to complete the 60% design by the end of July, but there was a little bit of delay. They're located in Vermont, and they were affected by the floods, so they needed a 3-week extension. So when I talked to him, I said, let's go through the end of September, because that would give the county and the village time to comment on the design. They actually did send him to us Friday, so I think September is a little bit beyond what they're gonna need, but I just wanted to avoid having to come back to council asking for an extension. So that's why we're requesting it. The time ran out on July 31st, for this task order.
Okay? And where'd the money come from?
That was money that we had set aside, I think, out of general.
Money from the previous snowstorm
From the previous snowstorm?
that we're using until we can get the grant
Reimbursement?
reimbursement.
Yeah, see, that was the idea behind the $20 million that we were trying to get up front, so we could operate off that, but we didn't get it.
But the county did pay their portion already of the 52,000 of
Okay.
the funds that we've already paid toward this, so we did get their portion of it already.
Okay? Pleasure?
Consent.
Number 10, discussion on task order RFP number 2023-13P-01 with Henninghausen, Olson, and McCray LLP for professional legal services as water rights attorney for the Village of Ruidoso in the amount of $80,000, including New Mexico GRT.
Mayor and council, this is just to issue a task order to Henninghausen, Olson, and McCree LLP for the RFP that was awarded last council meeting. And this is for our water rights attorney services.
Questions? Consent. Thank you. Item number 11, discussion on purchase of goods and services with Coates Pump and Supply, Inc. through statewide price agreement for rehabilitation of Green Well in the amount of $270,468.75, including New Mexico GRT.
Good morning, Mayor and council. So the pump in our green well ended up going down, and so we are moving as quickly as possible to get this well back online. However, Coates Pump and Supply, they're on statewide price agreement. Their contract does end August 1st. And so because of that, we did need to move forward on securing the contract under statewide price agreement, so we didn't have to go out for emergency procurement, which could lead to a significant amount of lead time on this. The amount did come in a little bit less than the $270. It actually came in at $206,040.50.
And for those, just to remind you, Green Well is one of our best wells.
Yep.
And in the event that it's down for too long, we have to start pulling water out of Alto to treat.
Correct. And so we're trying to avoid all of that if possible.
Okay? Consent, regular?
consent.
Is it a variable
Yes.
pump? I couldn't remember what,
Yes, it is.
okay.
Item number 12, discussion on award of ITB number 2024-001B for water storage
Thank you.
tank Rehabilitation Phase 1 rebid to D&R Tank Company in the amount of $2,348,878.29, including New Mexico GRT. Mr. Kane?
Good morning, Mayor, councilors. This is for the rehab of 3 tanks, which is going to include the West 5 million gallon tank, the Little D 1 million gallon tank, and the Grindstone tank. And this is going to be doing the inside and outside of the tanks. And it's going to also identify all the deficiencies that were noted in the tank inspections that were performed. So
How big is the Grindstone?
Grindstone is 1 million. We actually have 2 tanks, a 1 million and a 3 million. But what we're doing is we're splitting them up in different phases. It's going to be a 4-phase project. And it's going to take care of a lot of tanks. So,
And Little D, I thought it was Big D, but it's Little D?
yeah. Well, we do have Big D, that's a pumping station and
Right,
and a
but
tank
this is
and a
the-
well. This
yeah.
is Little D, that's on Hole and Gavilan.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing it's going to address is the sanitary survey issue, that we had a significant deficiency from one of the vaults on the west tank at Alto, and that's going to address that issue.
So this will do the clear wells too at Grindstone?
We're doing the clear wells, but that's, I believe, in phase 2.
Okay.
So what we did is we split them and we prioritized the most important and then worked backwards. So, but it's going to address most of the tanks, so.
Mr. Mayor, Randy, has lead ever been an issue?
Well, we don't think there's going to be a lead issue, but we have it for the additive alternatives, 2, 3, and 4. We have it in there just in case. If they go in and they find something different, then, then we'll have to proceed with lead abatement. That did jump up the price, $387,974.44. But that doesn't mean we're going to use it. If it's not there, then, we'll get that money back. We won't use it. Then the price would be like $1,960,903.
When they inspected the tanks, did they assay for lead or not?
Pardon?
When they did their inspections originally, with the regulatory findings, did they find lead at that time or did they look?
They didn't look.
Odd, don't you think?
Well, see, are you referring to like the tank inspections? That's basically internally what they.
Structurally more
Yeah.
than,
But based on the year and the age of the tanks, we don't think there's going to be an issue with lead, but there's always that possibility, and Robert Story wanted to include it just in case. That way we're covered if something did pop up. So, and when we all met on site, we looked at it, and we don't think there's going to be a problem, but we just wanted to make sure.
thank you.
Okay, where do you want it?
I would say regular. So we can let the public know what we're doing.
Okay, and item 13 is the contract for that, and money's out of SGRT.
Yes, it is out of the SGRT capital outlay water projects line item, so.
And have you looked at it, Zach, the contract? Does it have all the standard things in there, mitigated damages, yada, yada? Okay. Where do you want the contract?
On regular, I would say tie it in with
Tie
the,
them together.
Okay. Thank you. Item number 14, discussion on award of invitation to bid, ITB 2023-017B for Grindstone Canyon Dam Concrete Repair Principal Spillway and North Dam Crest to Hassey Contracting in the amount of $1,401,090, including New Mexico GRT.
Yes, this will take care of all the issues on the principal spillway. That's identifying all the drummy concrete that they found and all the bad spots. So they're gonna come in, they'll take off a portion of the surface and then do all the repairs and recoating. It's also gonna address the walkway on top of the dam. And it's gonna be a little bit of a process because they have to take off a certain mount, on the surface. And then they're gonna recoat it all. And then plus, we're trying to get it out in time, because of the bad weather conditions coming in, so it does make it interesting when you try to do some of the concrete repairs, so. And this is gonna address, some big issues in the inspection report from from James Head, so that were identified in the report, so. He's pretty pleased with us because we're doing a lot of the big items, so.
This is all SGRT money?
Yep, that's in the capital
Is
outlay.
Hossie, is that Sandbar Construction? This is just,
I'm not sure. I know they're out of Albuquerque, and haven't dealt with them, but I've heard pretty good reviews on the company, so.
So Randy, when do you anticipate the work starting and being completed?
Well, we probably, once we give them the NTP, I would say probably within a month or a month and, before we start. I know they wanted to start on it before, the snow came in and the weather got real bad, so. And as far as, I want to say 4 to 5 months. Maybe that might be a little long, but. And the other thing is, it's up to the contractor to organize the project. They could do both projects concurrently, or they can do it. We kind of recommended to start on one and keep working. And then that way you can expedite it and get it done quicker. But it's primarily up to the contractor to figure out that work schedule and everything.
okay. Where do you want it?
Consent?
Consent? And the 15 is the contract? See, we normally do it that way, but we've got 12 as a discussion item. And I didn't know if you wanted to go back and put 12 on consent and then just discuss the contracts.
So we could do that if you want.
Can you move 12 to consent? And then we'll discuss the contracts, and you want to do the same thing on 15?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Yes. Okay,
So is that 13 and 14 regular?
correct.
Yes.
13 and 15.
13 and 15.
Okay.
I looked right at it and said correct. Yeah,
Just to clarify that, 13 and 15 are regular,
yes.
Yes.
12 and 14 are consent.
Our consent.
Okay. Any other questions on that one?
No, sir. Thank you. Item number 16, discussion on memorandum of understanding between the Village of Ruidoso and Region 9 for shared parking facilities located at 2002 Sutter, Ruidoso, New Mexico.
Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, Council.
Good morning.
So this agenda item is going to be just simple MOU between us and Region 9. They're located right on Sudworth, right next to our country club property. It's so we can use their parking for our special events there at Country Club. It's just to help extend a little bit of parking.
But they'll leave it unlocked,
Yes, sir.
okay? Is there any, I was looking at stuff, I didn't see anything about shared maintenance.
Yes, we will be doing shared maintenance. It is
How's that
on-
working?
So it's going to be number 5. The village shall provide as reasonably necessary year-round maintenance to repair the parking lot, including snow removal, some pothole repairs, some drainage improvements, and shrubbery removal.
And
striping.
has that parking lot been inspected? Because it was pretty wicked coming out. There's a pothole big enough for you to lay in.
Yeah, so we have looked at it. And speaking with Ron and stuff, it shouldn't be and Adam, it shouldn't be an issue getting those patched up. And
Okay, so we'll be responsible for snow removal on the entire project?
Yes, sir.
And how many parking places do you think that we can use?
On a good weekend, I would say there's over 100 in that parking lot, probably.
100?
Between 90 and 100. It's a fairly large parking lot. We're gonna restripe it. And so the big kind of middle area will have a lot of additional parking. Well, right now it's not striped for parking in that middle area. It's just around the perimeter. And so we'll restripe it for,
And signage?
I don't know,
I didn't see anything on here, so I was gonna make sure that we had signage that notifies the public they can park there.
we'll put, for when our special events, we'll put A-frame signs out, our little A-frame signs that say public parking on them. For,
This is just special events?
so it's mainly for special events. However, they have already been leaving it open for the weekends, for overflow parking. And they just wanted something kind of formal in place to help protect them if something happened on their property or.
Sure.
So is the one part in there about tree, weed, and shrub removal, so are we gonna be doing the landscaping for them?
No, we won't be doing the full landscaping. It'll just, there is an area of the parking lot that they're wanting to expand a little bit, and we're gonna help out with that. It's pulling a tree out and, basically cutting, I think, 1 or 2 trees down and, taking some grass out.
So it's a one-time thing?
For the most part, if there's anything that's like overgrown into the parking lot area, we'll help with, but, we're not doing full landscaping on it all the time.
Okay, because it's vague enough that it could be read in there that, you know, anytime there's stuff that needs to be done, we're gonna go do it for them, and if that's not the intent, I think it needs to be reworded.
We can look at that definitely.
So, on special event, I haven't seen, so does that mean a permit has to be pulled before technically we can use that?
No, not, I mean, not per se. This is more of just for our activities we do there.
I would just like something that identified, because we're having other parking lot issues, as you may very well be aware of. And I just want to make sure that if somebody gets, upset, that we have a clear path to resolution on it. And so that, like the Oktoberfest pumpkin roll and all that, are we going to use it?
So we'll use this probably overflow for that event, yes.
It's probably ensure that I want to.
Yes, sir, we
Get
will.
those words
We will use. we will use.
That I don't want it to be that it has to be a public something going on, but it would be awesome if it is able to be used during the weekend. And I think if we're providing snow removal every time it snows, I think we ought to have access to it every weekend.
And in here, it does say it's unrestricted.
It's unrestricted.
And
But it talks about, number one, was it special event? Parking lot for visitors to events, it doesn't say special.
no, it's just events on village property.
And just for the debris and removal, cleanup is within 24 hours of the close of any special event.
So if we do host like a special event at Country Club lot or something like that, and we're just saying that we'll go have the trash picked up in that parking lot within 24 hours of that event.
Okay.
But my question on number 2, the parties should share the parking lot without restrictions related to hours or days of the week. I know that Region 9, when they have training and stuff during the weekday, they fill up that parking lot and stuff. So, I mean, that would be all just worked out as scheduling, right?
Yes, sir, that would just be us internally scheduling with them.
That's what I want to make sure is clear as well, that, hey, we're using the parking lot all this week for training but the weekends work. We parked down there a couple of weeks ago and it was earlier in the morning, about 10 o'clock and yeah, it was only halfway full. So
Going to the,
at the Region 9 building.
but were you going to?
We were going to the market.
Because I know that fills up.
Oh, yeah, that was way full and I knew that, so I didn't bother going through there.
But then number 3, the Region 9 will give 72 hours notice if they need the exclusive parking lot. So if they're
Right.
scheduling a big training, they could do that.
Right.
One of the things that I don't see in here is that it's restricted just for parking, because I could see at some point overflow and all of a sudden we're setting up tents and sites for a sale or something in that parking lot.
We have no intention of using that for any kind of
Well, I
special.
know you have no intention, but you won't be here forever. So whenever we look at these things, I always look at the unintended consequences for the future. And if it's not spelled out, then somebody else could come in and say, oh, yeah, no, we're gonna.
Put a circus there.
Yeah, we're gonna do this, or we're gonna, we don't have enough room for our food trucks at that corner lot, so we're gonna go ahead and park them in the parking lot. So, intent and don't plan on it, don't follow through in a contract. You know, it needs to be in black and white.
And are you okay?
Yeah.
Well, we just had him thoroughly convinced that he would be here forever, so
Well,
thank you for running.
I wouldn't lose any sleep tonight or
Got
sell
90
my
days.
car.
I'm not saying
You're
there's any plans to
leaving.
get rid of you,
Someone
but,
else is.
you know, stuff
It did come
happens.
across that way.
Tell you a story.
So,
Matthew HR wants to see
the
you.
little nuances
Used
there, Zach,
I'm in
when
there a
we're
lot.
talking about things like that, if we could change the wording to more precise, that it should only be used for parking, cars, something in there. And then what was the other thing that you were going on about?
I don't know.
Oh, was removal.
Oh, the trees.
Trees is a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah,
Trees.
limiting, you know, language that we're talking about, maintenance type things and, but we're not mowing are we mowing the grass all around behind it?
No, sir, we have the country club lot, that's our property that we mow, which kind of wraps around part of it, but the other part we do not mow.
Okay.
Their property we do not.
Do we think we have that covered? Is everybody okay with that? So where do y'all want it?
Regular, I think, with all those changes.
Regular, okay. Thank you.
I should put, Brian may not be with Region 9 forever. So
Okay, so it's gonna be regular. And while we're still mentally on that parking lot, do we get the signage still fixed with the Sierra apartment condominium or whatever that was?
I do not have your answer for that. Sam, or do you know about the signage for the Sierra complex?
You know, they were painting it the other day.
We're working with them right now to make sure that they get the permits and moved, but we need, I think, some direction on.
Because were y'all under the impression
Signage.
that sign was coming down?
yeah, it was coming down.
Yeah, that's what I was. So I drove by there real early in the morning, 6, and they were out there painting it.
Because I thought there was something in one of our ordinances, you can't advertise off-site. That was one of the deals with, somebody wanted to put in a electronic marquee, and it was going to be basically like a billboard.
And also, there was no contract with Canning, and they hadn't paid anything.
Yeah.
There needs to be some direction from council on whether that sign does or does not want to be on the original property, because there isn't an initial agreement. And so.
Well, we don't have an agreement with them.
That's what there isn't anything, so we can, okay.
Yeah, I mean, we already talked about that sign goes a long time ago.
That's what I understood when we purchased the property, that was
Yes.
to come down. Just on the sign ordinance, if you don't have frontage off Sudworth or Meacham, you can have an off-premise sign. But there is no agreement that we could find, that they were allowed to have it erected. And since it changed hands,
Okay, but, Mr. Mayor, if I may, does that mean they could, if this was presented to them, hey, you gotta take that out, could they not say, can I ask to enter into an agreement with the village so that I could keep that sign there, because somebody else could have had that going on?
my opinion would be that they needed to pay, like a lease agreement, because it's anti-donation that they're there on our property
Right.
for free, being that we're government. And then with the new sign, that RMA's placing, their whole intent is to earn revenue. So it's income generating, so they could pay for advertising space on the digital sign, in my opinion.
Because, you know, the RMA sign is in, and they're waiting on the contractor. Is that right? I had that
She's
backwards.
trying to line up a contractor.
Okay. And so that sign was there
And that's where the RMA sign's gonna go.
right in that area, not the exact same spot. It's
Yeah.
going to be double-sided, and it's going to be used to advertise events, things like that. But when the property was purchased, we did research on that, found out there was no active contract, there hadn't been any monies paid, and it wasn't in there. So I thought we had notified them way back then, because we've had that over a year now.
Yeah.
Again, it's just that feeling, because it always comes up, we've talked about the blade signs, the size of
Yep.
signs, and if we go and say, guess what, get that off of there, big village, we're telling you, then you're gonna have people potentially lining up, well, you're screwing it up over here, you're screwing it up over there. Just looking at the totality of
I
it.
don't know that we have that anywhere else, do we?
Just in case.
Off-premise
I don't-
signs,
Huh?
off-premise signs. None that come to the top of my mind. There's the one for the, what is it?
The Spencer Theater would be the only one that comes up off my mind, by the pool. Because that is, they do not have frontage on either one of those roads, and it is an off.
I'm thinking about the signage by Lindmark when you're going up Sudworth on the left-hand side. That's the only one I can think of that's an off-premise.
Behind the pot store and the Pills track ways down to the left?
Yes, down below Harvest as you're going up Sudworth. on the left.
But they could ask, doesn't mean we have to agree to it.
But I just know when we purchased the property, that was supposed to go down.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Because I don't
And they
even
were
know who's
told that.
paying electricity on it. All this time.
Thank you.
Okay. So we'll just have to send them a letter,
We'll have that done.
because I know somebody went and talked to them that morning.
We talked to them that morning, and the question was actually whether the village was going to ask to have the sign removed. When I looked at the information, I hadn't seen anything yet, so I was doing some research on it. But now with that direction, we'll have that letter drafted immediately.
Okay, so item number 17, discussion on award of invitation to bid, number 2023-018B for Moon Mountain and Links Trail Rehabilitation to Mesa Verde Enterprise, Inc. in the amount of $1,537,743.59, including Mexico GRT. And how much money do we have set aside for this, gentlemen?
Not that much. This is where you might be sending me to HR, Counselor Jackson.
I noticed we were in the red, that's what I noticed.
Yeah, so we do have a total shortfall after all of our grants of about 459,000, almost 460,000. Grand total, we have, the grant for the Links Trail was 497,000, just over 497. The grant for Moon Mountain was 233,000. We have another recreation grant that we received this year, was 500,000 that we could put towards trail projects, which would bring our total there to 1.2 million. The total project cost is just over 1.5 million, and so that does leave us, with the shortfall of that almost $60,000. We have gone out to bid 3 times on this project. We bid it out twice separately, each of the projects separate. We did not receive any qualified bids on those 2 times, so we decided to try to bid them together, maybe with a little more money. Somebody would be more interested in doing the projects. We only received 1 bid from Mesa Verde. There was another company that tried to submit a bid, did not submit it correctly. We found out afterwards. But their bid was around the 1.3 range, so it's
I thought you said 1.3?
1.3 for the construction, and then you add on all our other,
It was considerably more, I thought.
yes, yeah.
How was the engineering estimate off by so much?
It was done 2 years ago?
3 years ago.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, we got ready to try to do it, and then we couldn't find anybody, and then the price of material went through the roof.
Yeah, it was done 3 years ago. The other part of this is being a federal project, so this is federal funds through the state. With being a federal project, there is a lot of paperwork involved, which adds a tremendous amount to each project.
So you talked to the financial director, and she said,
We would be able to get it out of general fund.
if y'all,
Matter of reserve.
yes.
Is that reserve?
Yes.
And so there's the additional 70 for this street here?
So this is all
That's
inclusive.
including that.
Yes, this includes everything.
Okay, so there was mention we could take this portion out, but this is really some of the worst right here. It goes right here and up and around.
So there's the 2 alternates, the additive alternates in here.
Yes, sir.
So would those be completed in conjunction with, or would they be completely separate projects?
In conjunction with.
Why is there a separate mobilization for each of those then, if they're already here?
So I think that price would probably come off. I would have to confirm with Mesa Verde. They gave us a price if we didn't do them in conjunction. If we
Okay.
just wanted to do, because those were alternative options, and so we could technically just do each of those options. And so that's the full price for each of those options. But we could negotiate with them to remove that sort of thing.
See, I was under the impression that the Lynx Trail was separate from Moon Mountain.
We did originally, no responses.
Correct.
So like you said earlier, we bundled them to think it'd be more attractive, a bigger project. And then we were supposed to have two. One didn't fill out everything correctly. That was Prestige.
Yes, sir.
That was George Munoz's company. And the only one that actually filled it out and was lower anyway was Mesa Verde.
The previous two times we bid, we did have a bid on each of them. It just wasn't qualified bid. And it was just for the Moon Mountain Trails. It wasn't for Lynx.
Yeah.
But they did not hold some of the qualifications that are required for this federal grant.
This trail requires a certain size of lay-down or asphalt machine, and that was kind of the holdback on these things. And then we thought the Prestige would be perfect because they just bought a new machine. And then Mesa Verde came in, and they're just about finished with everything out the airport. It looks great. So, and they would get started on this post-haste
Yes.
if y'all decide to do it. So anyway, is there any other documentation, anything you need from, you're going to be here a long time. Girlfriend thing.
Yeah, it's gonna be the longest day of your life.
So, we'll put it on regular, right?
Well, the invitation to bid on consent and then the contract
Oh, yeah.
on regular.
Okay, so we'll put it on consent. The only thing is, we still got a lot of, it's $500,000. That's the only
Yeah.
thing is that if y'all want to put it on consent, we can to award it to them, and then the contract, that's the only difference.
The difficulty is if we do award it to them,
Yep.
then it's awarded to them. I mean,
Yeah.
we're stuck at that
That
point.
At this point, we can just say, we're not going to do it. But if we award it, put it in the consent, we approve all the consent items,
Put it on regular.
that we awarded it.
Both going regular then.
Because what we have to do is make a decision between now and then on if you wanted to pull this out of general fund, and we have it. You saw the report last special meeting.
And Mayor and Council, we are making other efforts to try and find
Find
other
additional
monies
monies.
to try and either offset or supplement or completely replace what would come out. There's no guarantees on that, but we are making efforts. So just so you know that that's happening as well.
Well, you got a week.
You got what? A week? Well, he won't have it then, but by the time we get it done and everything he could say, but as we've learned from our good friend Trish, we can say whatever we want to, but when it actually comes down to getting anything, it's a little different.
Yeah.
Isn't that right, Sam? Okay, so we'll put those both on regular, but we've been talking about this forever. It would certainly be awesome to do it. Oh, and I remember what I was calling you about. Talked to T-Bone, he said they're gonna take care of that lot.
Thank you, T-Bone.
Okay,
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
thank you guys, appreciate it. We'll move to the agenda, regular.
Nice working with you, Matthew.
So standard minutes, so we can review all the minutes, make sure that everything's good and kosher on those. Number 2 is request a special, schedule a public hearing for Planning Commission case PVC 2023-230, a vacation of right-of-way located at 311 Meacham Drive. Does everybody know where 311 Meacham Drive is?
Where is it?
It's, where Arnold Duke has the little apartments or condos right there as you come around the corner weed store, something else, Apache. There's an area behind there, and what he's wanting to do is convert all those, remodel them, and turn them into apartments or condos. Is there really that big?
Sell them off for long-term, we'll sell them off individually, keep the common land and sell the cabins, and then add more cabins to the back.
Oh, condos then?
Cabins or condos, but he's gonna, so he can, and there's no utilities, there's no anything in there, but this is one of his efforts that he's come with this, with several that we've never been able to put pen to it, paper to it, and do it, that he's gonna do on his own to actually build some additional housing.
Okay.
So we'll have a public hearing on that. Item number 3, requests to schedule a public hearing, Planning Commission case PVC 2023-232, vacay public domain located at 134 Fern Trail. And y'all remember Hall? Was that her name? Shank, I'm sorry. Shank came in here and discussed that with us. No utility issues there. But I will tell you that some of the stuff that crossed my desk, that we did have a good catch. Stephanie, Planning and Zoning, everybody had signed off on it. The internet company. Yeah, it's just Windstream, Zia, everybody had signed off on it, but it had utilities right in the middle of it. So she caught it, so that was a good one. So anyway, these do not. Item number 4, request to schedule public hearing, ordinance amendment 2023-11, chapter 22, buildings and building regulations, adoption of current building and fire codes. Item number 5, request to schedule public hearing for section 106, short-term residential overlay district, reference of current building and fire code adoptions. Any questions? Okay. Item number 6, request to schedule public hearing September 12th, resolution 2023-28, establishing fees for building evaluation charts. Number 7, approval of a renewal agreement for land lease by and between the Village of Ruidoso and a municipal corporation of the state of New Mexico, owner of Sierra Blanca Regional Airport, and the Castorets Family Trust. Well, any one K to another, I'm going to trust your pronunciation. Okay. We have under mail reports and presentation, new employees and promotions. Will,
I believe so.
both of them?
Just one.
Eddie, okay, so he's the tourism and event planner guy, and so the curator will be the following, okay. Update from Ruidoso Pickleball. If anybody hadn't been over there to play, you should. The courts are awesome. They're very pleased with them, but they just kind of want to give us an update on what's going on.
The Meadows is approved to change theirs to pickleball, their annual meeting.
Who's paying for that?
The Meadows is doing it.
Wow.
They're redoing, because they had at one time it was 2 basketball courts, one fell into disrepair, so they kind of milled it up and undid it, and then the other one, instead of turning it to basketball, they're gonna put it as pickleball.
The Meadows.
As soon as you come in that gate off of Gavilan,
Yeah.
there's the pavilion and
Yeah.
that little park right over the
I
hill.
never even noticed it.
Right over the hill.
Oh, good. That'd be great. And I'm meeting with a guy shortly after this meeting that's proposing to put in some more pickleball courts. So if you haven't joined the Pickleball Nation, I just want you to be aware that they're still inviting you. You may not be allowed to join at a later date.
I just need to recruit Chicken and Pickle to the
Chickle and what?
Chicken and Pickle? You need to look it up.
Chickle and pickle.
Chicken and Pickle.
Chicken and pickle.
Chicken and
Is
pickle.
that like chicken and waffles, or is it different?
Mm-hmm. Okay, item number 3 will be the update on New Mexico 48 and Sutterth Drive Mill Overlay Project by Francisco, affectionately known as Cisco Sanchez, District 2 engineer. So this is the one where we'll need to have all your thinking caps on and asking the questions. And then he said he has everybody lined up to do it. So, and that'll be probably, is it an election year? So. Okay, boards and commissions, we're full. Awesome, hallelujah. Then we'll have the village manager's report, which Ron has been diligently working on. Then we'll have an update during that at 54. Utility master plan, Souder Miller. Is that just an update on the pricing, where we're at? Okay. Concerts on the park, we're excited about.
Speaking of election years,
Yeah. What about election year?
update on the utility pricing?
Utility rates.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. I was thinking about the concert in the park, which is going to be, what's his name? Josh Abbott Band, yeah. Yeah. So that one ought to be fun. And then update on Pine Cliff water line replacement. Yeah, that's weird. I looked for him a while ago and he wasn't here, then he walked in and he floats in and out, so he's light on his feet. Pine Cliff water replacement project, to give us on that, because we're not going to destroy the whole thing. We're going to do little sections at a time. Alto 3 and Alto 4 wells. Is there anything else, anybody specifically, once you get finished reading the manager's report, if you have any certain things we can ask for, we bring it to his attention. We have reports from municipal officials. Then I love these, not very well. Quasi judicial public hearing for ordinance 2023-09. Ordinance amending the Village of Ruidoso Municipal Code of Ordinances, Chapter 54, land use case number. This one is for the C1 designation neighborhood commercial district for 197 Meander, Lot 36, Block 14 of the Palmer Gateway Subdivision, New Mexico. Michael Hugh, applicant. So does everybody know where this is at?
It's on Meander.
That's all I know.
Brilliant.
Is it backing up to water?
Well, it's pretty close to the other one, the other storage buildings down there. So you know where we have
Oh, it's the storage buildings?
storage buildings?
Okay.
That's what he's wanting to do, is put in storage buildings down there. So you have Gavilan, Meander, it's that little area where we had all the flooding and all the other stuff that's supposedly going to be addressed in the extension of the review of the engineering for all that crap. So it's right there. That's that part. Okay? So, and we've sent out everything for everybody that would be involved, has a stake in that over there. Okay. Number 2, quasi judicial public hearing for ordinance 2310, amending the Village of Ruidoso Municipal Code of Ordinances, Chapter 54, land use for case RZ 2023-169, zone change request, 128 Randall Drive, 16A, Block 6 of the Hamilton Terrace Subdivision, Ruidoso, New Mexico. Ronnie Smith, applicant, for amendments to the zoning map to reflect said zoning changes. Randall, 128, remind me again.
He had access off of Meacham and he has subdivided the lot into two. And so the lot that's accessed off of Randall, he'd like to add a single family residence to it and rezone to R1 first.
Okay, I can add some additional language to this.
I'm just trying to remember Randall. I don't know, I'm blanking it. I know I've discussed this. Can y'all picture it?
Right there at Casablanca,
Yeah.
there's Rainbow.
Uh-huh.
And then that road
Randall.
right there is Randall.
Okay.
Behind, what, I still call it, Weber's.
Weber's, yeah.
Grill and tap room.
Yeah,
Sierra
Rio
Grande.
Grande.
So, and Streets Department has looked at all that on runoff and all that stuff. That'll all be passed through. So we'll need to make sure that we're, access and moving through that. Do you see any effect in any of that?
When they get to,
Planning and zoning?
then they will have to get a street cut permit and all that.
Okay. All right. If anybody else think of anything that concludes it, we will have closed session.
And if I may, Mayor, for the municipal officials report, I'll just chime in and say it was a very good event for the ribbon cutting at the college. The reason why I'm saying that now is because I'll be gone next Tuesday, picking up 2 granddaughters from the airport in Albuquerque. Can't wait.
Was it a lot of people that made it?
Yeah, I would say over 100.
More than that.
It was
Back out the
150.
door.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was really good. Even the rain didn't stop anybody from coming.
Well, they'd let off by the time we got there.
Okay. Anything? Yes, sir?
In reference to the airport,
Uh-huh.
I don't know if Ron mentioned to you, they're asking, Mesa Verde's asking for a
Extension?
Yes, sir. So we're waiting on Jackie Martinez from the Armstrong Consulting to come up with the extension paperwork for us and present it at the council meeting as well. So that's all I had to say on that. So,
Yeah, and we were inclined to approve that.
Yes, sir.
Since they did everything they did to get it open on July 4th weekend.
Yes, sir. And we talked to Jackie, Michael, myself, and Ron yesterday, and they were saying the 25th, and we said, well, the 18th would be suitable, because they're acting like they can be done by the 18th of August, so that's what we told her to write up the extension as, is August the 18th. So we're just waiting on that paperwork to come back from her as well.
Okay.
Great.
And then, did Cameron, is he going?
He is leaving tomorrow morning. We have not
Oh,
got
it looks like it's
anything.
all systems go on the new rig.
Yes, sir. All systems
fire
go on
truck.
the new rig.
I saw a unit with toting the trailer with the side-by-side Sunday going down the hill.
So we had, so we got asked to cover the Capitan District as an RMP assignment for a 4-day time period. So Saturday, the guys went out and a fire broke out over in the Corona area, so our guys were the first response because they were part of that assignment. And so what happened was, the fire got out of hand. It was a 5-acre fire, and then the wind got it up to about 200 acres. So they asked us to bring one truck back in and take another truck out with an ATV so they can get around in the forested area over there by Corona. So that's what they're at. And they're supposed to be demobbed today as part of the permanent assignment and possibly go back out there the next few days to help. The fire's inside the containment line. They're just saying, that's what the mayor asked me about this morning. It's at the 10% containment. But our guys are going to be out there helping try to put out the hot spots inside the containment area. That's what that was for.
Thank you.
Anything else going on at the convention center starting Wednesday? Thursday is the 65th, 69th Annual Physicians Conference.
Family practice.
Family practice, so that'll be starting. And then that'll run right into the Contractors Association. And we're still working with Donaldson and them on, well, they don't want anybody to have mixed drinks on the golf course, and these contractors, which is Hosty and Frank Sanchez and all those guys are a little upset.
Well, I thought they used to have a beverage cart that followed you around. It made it easier for some of those.
Well, that's why I don't understand the discrepancy right now.
The beverage cart is still out there.
Yeah, they still, but it's just beer, and then they'll do pre-made wine drinks. But remember, that's the liquid, the
These are
villages.
contractors? Yeah.
The village is a municipal liquor license out there, so I'm just confused.
Nobody wants wine margaritas, I'm sorry.
No, so, anyway, so we're still having those discussions right now. Anything else, Mike? Okay, all right, well, is there anything else you guys need? Want to add? Okay, well, that concludes, the workshop for the Village of Ruidoso. This meeting is adjourned.